Who cares what other people think? You just need to be clear on your vision for your company. So be you. Keep it real. Keep it simple. Put it in your own language. No fake corporate language, right? That's what I love about construction guys and gals. Let's drop the fake corporate language and let's talk as real people who are building real projects and who are impacting communities in a really positive way. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Welcome to this episode of Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. I'm your host, Eric Anderton. What sets apart one construction company from another? In order to thrive and endure, contractors have to win, plan, and safely build high-quality projects that meet or beat the agreed schedule. So what this requires is an integration of design and planning methods, technology, equipment, and production processes, and builders are constantly seeking competitive advantages in each of these areas. But the very best companies and leaders know that at the heart of every great construction company is the people who bid, plan, and build their projects. They understand that every construction project is driven by people, through people, and for people. It is the quality of the people that sets apart one company from another. And more specifically, it is the capability of the leadership that makes the difference, because the people in a construction company are the direct reflection of the quality of those who lead them. So what's the most important responsibility of a leader? In construction, it is to communicate. All things being equal in terms of technical ability, it is communication that sets apart one construction leader from another. The complex, challenging, and risky nature of the business requires leaders to constantly communicate up, down, across, and outside of the organization. And it is critical that leaders understand and consistently emphasize three specific messages to those that they lead. These three messages make up the three pillars of powerful communication. In the next 3 solo episodes, we're going to be taking a look at each one of these 3 pillars. And the 3 pillars are vision, direction, and comfort. They are 3 messages that the best construction leaders clearly understand and communicate consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. So in this episode, we're going to talk about vision. Lots of people get cataracts in their eyes as they age. The lens of your eye is a clear structure that sits just behind the iris and helps focus the light coming in. But sometimes the aging proteins in the lens clump together and they form a white spot. This is a cataract, and it makes your vision cloudy. About 20 million people are blind due to cataracts. It's the cause of approximately 5% of blindness in the United States and nearly 60% of blindness in parts of Africa and South America. Surgeons started operating on cataracts thousands of years ago, long before they knew what the lens even did. And they did it without anesthesia. That sounds painful. An early description of cataract surgery comes from the Indian doctor Sushruta. I probably spell or mispronounce that badly. But anyway, it was 2,500 years ago. He won't mind. First, he said, you got to use a sharp tool to poke into the eyeball. Then sprinkle the eye with breast milk. The last step is a little unclear, but while the patient blows air out of one nostril, the doctor should attempt to either remove the lens or push it down into the eyeball. Dislodging the lens and pushing it into the eye is called couching, and doctors in many countries throughout the ancient world practiced it. You might think that the surgery became so popular because it worked well, but you would be wrong. Couching did let light back into people's eyes, but because it left their lenses out of place, their vision was completely unfocused. And they often went blind from the procedure, assuming that they didn't die first from infection. Vision is critical to human experience for obvious reasons. What's not so obvious is that vision is also critical for the success of a business. One of the duties of a construction company leader is to be like an ophthalmologist, removing the cloudy cataracts and providing people with vision and clear understanding of the direction and the purpose and even the personality of the organization. People need to be able to see these critical things clearly. So let's explore 3 aspects of vision. First thing, why having a clear vision is important. Second thing, 2 critical components of a company vision. And the third thing is how to clarify your company vision. So why a clear vision is important, 2 critical components of a company vision, and how to clarify your company vision. So let's take a look at the first thing. Why is having a vision important? Let's think of the nature of human beings. Okay, if you have kids, just think for a moment. What's the first word that comes out of your kid's mouth? Well, for most kids, it's mama, and then maybe me. After that, perhaps no, and then sometime after that, when they're 2 or 3, papa, right? What about the first question? Think back to the first question most kids ask. They always go through a stage, right, where the question is why? Why this? Why that? Why the other thing? The need to know why is fundamental to human beings. And that's why a good company vision, it answers clearly the question of why the company exists and why we behave or show up the way that we do on a daily basis. Human beings need to know why. They need a clear sense of purpose, a clear vision, a clear direction. The nature of construction also makes this vision extremely important because, again, construction is by people, through people, and for people. Everything associated with a construction project needs a strong sense of why, because construction is too risky and it's too expensive to be unclear on the why and the associated how. And then you have the challenge of construction. It's a tough business. It's difficult to build projects and deal with all the issues, and people need a clear picture of why we are doing what we are doing and how we are supposed to show up every day on the job site, dealing with clients, working with project partners. So having a vision is important because it's critically tied to human nature and the nature of construction itself. Let's take a look at the second thing, 2 critical components of company vision. There's 2 questions that you can ask to really help to clarify the vision. And the first one is, why do we exist? And the second one is, how do we behave? In 1962, the first Wal-Mart opened in Bentonville, Arkansas. Apparently, the reason why Sam Walton opened the Five and Dime store, and it was this little funky Five and Dime store in Bentonville, why they chose Bentonville to live there, the Walton family, was because it was close to a variety of different hunting grounds, and Sam liked to hunt. So that was back in, the 40s and the 50s. Today, Walmart's revenue is $514 billion. They've grown from a one-man store to a corporation that generates more revenue than many of the countries in the world. What is their vision? Their vision is very straightforward. It's to give ordinary folk the chance to buy the same things as rich people. Now, you may never shop at Walmart. You might like shopping at Walmart. You may not consider yourself ordinary folk, but this is a clear vision for Walmart, to give ordinary folk the chance to buy the same things as rich people. Does your company have a clear vision? Let me give you a couple of ways that you can clarify that. First, ask the question, why do we exist? Let me give you an example. One of my clients, this is the reason they exist. And they state it like this. We build to provide and endure. They've been around for over 20 years. They're an ESOP. The owners of the company, the original owners, feel deeply responsible for their 400 employees, and they want to build in order to provide for the families associated with those 400 employees. And they've structured the company in such a way to be an ESOP so that the company can endure beyond just the original owners' careers, right? They build to provide and endure. The second question that makes up a clear vision is, how do we behave? Because I not only need a vision of why, but I need a real clarity about how we behave, how we show up every day, how we build projects. That same company that exists to provide and endure, they came up with these statements that define who they are, give clear picture to their employees of who they are. Number one is the courage to break molds and eliminate excuses. Number two is the discipline to kick ass. And number three is the wisdom to stay humble together. Now, these values or this personality that they describe, what it then does is it drives their operations, who they hire, who they fire, who they decide to do business with, which markets they decide to pursue, because they're always looking to break molds. And so they're willing to go into new markets geographically or product-wise in order to expand the business so that they can provide and endure. And so a really good company vision is inspirational. It gets people going. And it's also aspirational. It leads people on. And if you want a strong vision, your vision should be inspirational and it should be aspirational. It should be something that motivates people and something that challenges them. And then also something that has an aspect of longevity to it. And again, it should provide the foundation of operations in the organization, how you roll, how you show up on a job site, how you train people so that they can deliver your services in a way that really speaks to and exemplifies the depth and the significance of what you're doing as a construction company. Keep asking why until you get a clear understanding of why you exist and how you behave. Both need to be clear, and they affect the way people show up every single day. So how can you clarify your vision? Number one, you got to gather the core team, right? Gather the people who are all in. Gather the people who want to be there. Gather the people who, if they came tomorrow and they said, hey, I want to go somewhere else, you'd be like, no. You've got to stay. Gather that core team. And then you got to ask them and take some time and get their feedback. Why do we exist? How do we behave? And don't rush this conversation. And don't worry if it's precisely correct. You're not necessarily even looking to put this on a website or anything like that. You're just getting clarity for yourself and for the people that you lead so they can then communicate that vision to the people in the organization so that you can build projects profitably. So be confident as you gather that core team. If you've been around for a while and achieved success, you really know the answer of why you exist. And it's more than just money for most people. There's something deeper beyond the money for why you exist as an organization. But you need to take time to clarify it. And think about this. Perhaps you might need someone to help you with that. Someone who can be a sounding board. Someone who can hear what you're saying and feed it back to you. So sometimes what folks do when they're having this clarification process is they bring in outside facilitators. Someone who can hear what they're saying and feed it back to them in their own words. And that's the last thing that's very important about this process of clarification. You need to be you. Don't choose somebody else's words. Think about how you talk every day. Keep it real. That's what I like about what my clients said. One of their values, again, the discipline to kick ass. And if you know these guys kick ass. They're awesome. And they put it in their own words. Who cares what other people think? You just need to be clear on your vision for your company. So be you. Keep it real. Keep it simple. Put it in your own language. No fake corporate language, right? That's what I love about construction guys and gals. Let's drop the fake corporate language and let's talk as real people who are building real projects and who are impacting communities in a really positive way. So you got to understand the language of what you're saying so that you can clearly communicate it. If you use fake corporate language, it won't be in your heart and it won't come out of your mouth and you won't be able to use it to drive your company forward. So many times when we're talking about this idea of vision, people ask, is this really, necessary? I mean, I'm just going out there to build projects and make money. Okay, fair enough. But remember what we said earlier. It's fundamental to human beings to understand why they're doing something and how they should do it. And that's why you need to clarify your vision. And maybe you've tried it before, right? And you came up with this mission statement and you even put it on your website. And have you ever had that experience of putting a mission statement and a vision on a website and maybe coming up with some values and asking your people at a certain meeting, hey, what are our vision and values? And they absolutely have no idea. And so you get discouraged and say, oh, forget this vision and values stuff and let's just move on and let's just go out and build. Well, let me encourage you. If you keep it real, if you keep it simple, and if you keep it in your own language, it doesn't ever need to go onto a website. But the process is so important because then when you have a grasp on why you exist and how you should behave, when you have a clear vision for your company, it's going to really help you how you show up every single day, who you have in leadership, how you move your company forward, even who you choose to do business with. So those are the three things we covered here today. Why having vision is important, because it relates to the deep need of human beings. Two critical parts of company vision: why we exist and how we behave. And then how to clarify that vision. You gather the team. You be confident that you already know the answers. You just need to get them out and clarify them. And then be you. Keep it real and keep it simple. Let me give you a couple of examples. One of my clients, love these guys. I've worked with them for many years. And the reason they exist, their vision, is to crush the competition. Now that might offend you, but I think if you're in construction, you probably know how competitive it is, and they live for that competition. And how do they behave? Well, their values include no hacks, zero punch, and make our clients' lives easier. No hacks. When you go onto a job site and you point at someone and, that guy's a hack. And because their values are no hacks, they insist on training their folks so they can produce high quality projects. Because they want to be able to work with high quality clients, so they have to produce projects that are high quality. So no hacks, zero punch. Let's get to the end of the project and let's not let the profit fade off into the distance, but let's have zero punch, a zero punch list. That's a high standard for quality and for efficiency and for attention to detail. And this is how they're going to drive that vision of crushing the competition and being successful. And then the last one is make our clients' lives easier. You're there to serve the client. I tell you, one thing should be in your mind all the time. The client, the client, the client. Make sure you're taking care of your clients, and your clients will take care of you if they're the right types of clients. So that's one example. Let me give you one more. Another company. Now, this company is more of a family-based organization. Now, that's a great thing about a business. Right? It doesn't have to be cookie cutter, right? You can go in there and you can express yourself. And if you lead a construction company, it can be the very best expression of who you are as an individual. And that's extremely important. And so why does this one company exist? They build lives by saving lives. Wow. Think about that. Building lives by saving lives. That's why they exist. They're a fire sprinkler company, so they do fire sprinkler installations, and they want to build the lives of the people that they work with, and they do that by saving lives as a result of installing the fire sprinklers that they have to offer. And how do they behave? Well, their values are: number one, take nothing for granted. Number two, delayed gratification. And number three, earn everything. This is the vision that drives their organization. How clear are you on your vision? You must take time to do this, right? It can take a day, it can take 2 days, but it doesn't have to take forever, and it doesn't have to be precisely correct. It never has to go on your website, but it has to come from your heart and your mind. It has to be agreed upon by your leadership team, and then it has to be communicated as the foundation for your operations and your strategy and everything that defines you as an organization. You must be clear. One of my clients, his name is Vance Lancaster of Lancaster-Burns. So I took him through this process as part of a one-day strategic planning process with him and a variety of his leadership team and his partner, Jordy. And this is what he said about the work that we did. He says this: "You helped us understand what our purpose is, what our personality is, what our plan is, and what our priority is. When you get a group of your leaders together to do that, it really helps people to get on the same page. And it's now a tool we use in every personnel review, conversation, quarterly meeting, and interview. Clients come in and we use the answers to these questions to help them understand what type of a contractor we are. They have it on the wall as a triangle. It's a really cool thing, the answers to these questions. And it's a foundation of what this organization is all about. We use it to help everybody understand that. We probably had an opportunity to do this 10 years ago, but we didn't take it. I can't imagine how much further along we'd be if we had. And I tell you, LB Construction, they're way, way down the road as an awesome construction company, but they see the value of this clarification process in terms of catapulting them even further forward down the line. So again, let's just hit that summary one more time. Why is vision important? Because it's at the core of who we are as human beings. We need to know why, and we need to know how we should show up. The two critical parts of a company vision: why we exist and how we behave. And then the last thing we talked about was how to clarify your vision. Gather that core team. Be confident that you already have the answers. Get some help if you need it as far as clarifying them. And then be you. Keep it real and keep it simple. All right, now believe it or not, going back to cataracts, that process of couching that I described, it's still performed in some countries in the developing world. But today, most people with cataracts are lucky to have some better options. Surgeons, what they do is they take a tiny incision of just 2 or 3 millimeters to reach the cloudy lens, and they break it up with ultrasound before removing it. They can then slide in a brand new lens. So now when patients have cataract surgery, they can actually see afterwards. Thanks to the innovation of many ophthalmologists, lens implants now boast a 98% success rate. And if you take the time to clarify your company vision, remove that cloudiness, so to speak, it can really increase the success of your organization. So leading a construction company is one of the toughest challenges anyone can take on. Clarifying vision is only one part of this process. And it's common for construction company owners like yourself to struggle with getting each employee contributing equally to your organization's success. And you have great intentions, but it's tough for you to find time to break down the silos that exist in your business between the field and the office, get everyone accountable for the production quality and safety goals of each project. And these issues not only create stress and frustration for you, but they cost you a bunch of money. I've worked with construction company owners for over 15 years, and I've developed a short assessment which will quickly identify the specific leadership areas that you need to work on. So to access that assessment, just go to my website, ericanderton.com/construction-leadership-assessment. It's an awkward URL, but I'm going to put it in the show notes so that you have it. Here's another next step. I work with contractors ranging from $10 million to over $1 billion in revenue, both subs and generals. If you're the owner or senior level executive of a construction company of over $10 million and think you may benefit from getting some facilitation expertise, that's what I'm an expert at, helping you to get clarity on the answers to these critical questions. So reach out to me on my website, ericanderton.com/contact. Fill in some details there about yourself, and I'll get a notification in my email box, and I'll reach out to you and we can have a little chat. I really appreciate you listening to today's show. Make sure that you take the next steps and clarify your company vision. However you go about it, you need to know the reason why you exist and how you behave, and then you need to communicate it consistently and simply to the people in your organization. So go to my website to get the show notes and all the links. Give us a review on iTunes. I really, really appreciate you listening to Construction Genius. Again, keep in mind what the tag of this whole podcast is about. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. I know you're going to go away from this podcast and put in the perspiration. I hope that you got just a little bit of inspiration here today to help you with that process. My name's Eric Anderton. I really value you listening to this podcast. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and always remember that the show is brought to you by Kick-Ass Meetings. I've been working with construction leaders since 2004, teaching them how to run extremely effective problem-solving meetings that gets their people collaborating, taps into their creativity, and to get yourself a free copy of the Kick-Ass Meeting Report, go to www.ericanderton.com/kickassmeetings. Grab yourself that free report, read it, use it in your business. You'll find it extremely useful. And thanks again for listening.